As Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury said today on X, if a prince can be held accountable, so can a president. And joining us now, Democratic Congresswoman Melanie Stansbury of New Mexico. She is a member of the House Oversight Committee.
Welcome, Congresswoman. I want to start where Simone very carefully took us, and that's in this idea of accountability, but from both sides of the pond. The response in Great Britain by both its government, the royals, and the citizenry stands in stark contrast to what we've seen play out here in the United States between the Congress, the Republican Congress, the Republican Senate, and the presidency. Except for the American people who've been clamoring over and over again for some type of adjudication, if you will, accountability, a recognition of the women who were abused by Jeffrey Epstein. These two responses stand in stark contrast one to the other. And I think that says a lot about this democratic nation that we claim ourselves to be, that our cousins across the pond in this regard are more democratic than we are. How do you see it in light of everything that you've seen so far? And what does this say about the way the Brits are prepared to go about addressing this Epstein matter compared to the snail's pace, the tooth and nail, the fight at every turn resistance that we're seeing from this American government?
Well, I think it's very clear that the British government has stepped up and in a way that I think shocked the world. I know this morning I woke up to the news and I couldn't believe it. And in fact, when you think about it from a historical perspective, this is the first member of the UK royal family that has been arrested since the English Civil War in 1647. That is how serious they are taking it. And the King of England himself is saying, let the law do its work. Whereas here in the United States, the president is asked about it. And not only does he not acknowledge the survivors, the crimes, but he is continuing to claim not only that he's exonerated, but there's nothing to see here. And what is obvious to all of us who have been watching this unfold, who've had access to the files, who've been investigating this case, is that for 2 decades, the United States government has been engaged in a cover-up and a miscarriage of justice in this case and failed the survivors. And even in the face of Congress passing the Epstein Files Transparency Act requiring that this administration release the files and subpoenas from Congress, you have Pam Bondi, his attorney general, appearing in front of members of Congress defiantly saying that she will not investigate these crimes, that she will not make indictments, that she will not hold the president accountable, even though there is evidence in the files that President Trump himself was investigated by the FBI for credible allegations. And so the contrast is truly stunning.
The contrast is absolutely stunning. Virginia Giuffre's brother had something to say about the United States government today on the BBC. Take a listen.
I will continue to commend the king for the actions that he's taken. We have yet to see that from our own government here. We were just at the Pam Bondi hearing. And so I think to hear the king come out and acknowledge the fact that there needs to be an investigation, the law should be followed like it should be followed for anybody that should be held to this type of investigation.
So, Congresswoman, you hear that, and then you have this from Les Wexner's deposition on the FBI and the Department of Justice and Epstein. Take a listen to this.
Has the FBI or DOJ ever directly contacted you or spoken to you about Epstein?
Not to my knowledge.
Never?
Never.
Would you consider Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein friends or friendly? Would you classify them that way in the information that you have?
I think it's really 2 questions. Would I think they were friends? No. Jeffrey Epstein held him out as a friend.
some of it as well, because I felt it was important for people to hear how she articulated her accusations against Andrew and how serious they were. And we don't know that there's an investigation into that, but she talks about the photo I just showed. It's almost 25 years ago. It was March 25 years ago when that photo was developed. She talked about it in her book. And Amanda, let me ask you, I wonder, and we don't know this, but without that photo and without her advocacy, I don't know that they would have looked into Andrew, but what do you think?
That photo was such a pivotal moment in this case. You know, oftentimes when survivors come forward, it's always he said, she said, and society is inclined to believe the he before the she. And what she did with that piece of evidence, which was submitted to the FBI, which the original photo is still in their possession, it was verified that it was a real photo. That was such a critical turning point. And I mean, we're talking about, 25 years ago it was taken, and the way that it just consistently resurfaces over and over and over again. I can imagine it is the biggest thorn in Andrew's side, and it gives me some joy to know that they still cannot get away from this photo that they've backtracked and claimed wasn't real. Time and time again, it's been proven that it is real and that Virginia was telling the truth.
Yeah, that photo is just lives as evidence, or evidence of him being with a 17-year-old, standing with a 17-year-old, and she really outlines it in her book. As you mentioned, Skye, we don't. There is no evidence right now of an investigation into the accusations Virginia made, but they seem to be taking. They did arrest a member of the royal family this morning who she's made accusations against. Have you heard from the British authorities? Are you hopeful that there could be an investigation into the accusations Virginia made?
I really hope so. I think our sister has proven to be a truth teller time and time again. To answer your question, Jen, no, we haven't heard from any British authorities at all. Although we're very open to it, I just want to make that clear that we would again commend the King and commend, the UK for actually taking a stand against this when our own government won't. But yeah, I believe my sister, Amanda. We say it all the time. The files are exposing this at this point. There's no like gray line here anymore. You can read through them yourself. It's pretty damning when you go through it. Even just the email that Virginia had talked through, even that you talked through briefly here moments ago, is that it proved that not only is the photo real. Ghislaine sent her own email basically routing out one of her best friends of, yeah, the photo's real. It was taken at my flat. And yeah, it absolutely introduced her to the prince. So when are we going to start believing survivors is really my question. When are we going to start making the burden of proof on survivors a little bit less than what they are now? Because my sister paved the way and now we're trailblazing through it. She did it for us first. Now we get to carry on the legacy behind her.
Andrew, as you well know, and for viewers, was not the only person that Virginia bravely accused. And she testified against others as well and named other names in testimony that's openly available in depositions. One of them was Les Wexner. And he had a deposition yesterday the video is now out of that deposition. And I don't know if you've seen this, and it's upsetting, but I want to play it for you because I think it's important for people to hear what he had to say about it, given what Virginia has said and what she experienced and lived through. But let's play that part of the deposition.
Are you aware of who Virginia Giuffre is?
No. Familiar name, but I've heard it, but I don't connect it to anything.
Did you ever have any sexual contact of any kind with Miss Giuffre?
No. Absolutely. How could I have contact with somebody I don't even know?
Miss Giuffre has accused you of performing sexual acts with her multiple times. You dispute these allegations?
She must be confused. No, it never happened.
Again, it's really, it's upsetting to watch. It is, because as I just noted, I mean, Virginia accused Les Wexner of forcing her to have sex multiple times with him, of being trafficked to him. Again, he denies those allegations, just said he doesn't know her. But what do you want people to know? I mean, what is your reaction when you watch that video?
Yeah, I think the response is very familiar, right? We've seen this response before. We've seen this response from Andrew. He has no recollection. And, you know, it's the typical response, right? I think, you know, the first attempt at, you know, questioning is deny. And so that's the level that he's at right now. It's actually not shocking, to be honest, they've spent a lifetime denying any implications with Epstein, even though there's like mountains of proof.
One more, and this is something I could say that the Canadian Americans don't always realize how much of a para the United States has become under Donald Trump. And it's merely because of Trump's policies. That's the key thing to be clear about. But it's also because of America's response, or lack of response to Trump, his alleged crimes, and the crimes of the people around him. Look at how South Korea, Brazil, and other countries reacted when they had their own January 6th type movements. Those responses weren't perfect, but they were still better than what happened in the United States. More people actually faced consequences. In the US, no one truly significant was held accountable for J6. Some individual people were, sure, but then they are got by none. And yes, some individuals faced accountability, but almost nobody with real prominence did. And now you have got members of the British royal family getting arrested. You have got politicians in other countries resigning. You have got other royal family members, other European royals getting scrutinized over this too. That's a form of accountability. It's now here, near enough, but it's something. And we just haven't seen that kind of accountability in the United States. So a lot of people are saying we don't want Trump around. We don't want Trump's America around. Because part of democracy is holding the rich and powerful accountable. Then they act like they are above the law, and the United States more than other Western countries, which again are generally not great at this either, seems worse on this. The rich, wealthy, and well-connected get away with awful things in Canada all the time too. And Mark Carney isn't just letting it happen, he's rewarding it with big fat tax cuts. So I'm not trying to make this into like Canada good, Europe good, USA bad, but the USA is at least a little bit worse than those other countries. And it's only getting worse under Donald Trump. The Epstein laws operates everywhere, but it's in the United States that they are probably the safest.